Closing arguments in the federal corruption trial of former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan started today. He has been charged with bribery, conspiracy, racketeering, and wire fraud in a case that started back in October. Now the prosecution is making its final plea to the jury. Our Sabrina Franza is at the Dirksen Federal Building, and she's been in court. Sabrina, what's the latest?
Hi, Marie. The prosecution began their closing argument with a PowerPoint presentation in two large words in bold: power and profit. The jury sat and they took diligent notes in what is one of the final few days in this now months-long trial after hearing testimony from former Speaker Mike Madigan's associates, listening to wiretapped recordings, and hearing from the former Speaker himself. Now, in what might be the largest case of political corruption in Illinois state history, it's almost concluded. Madigan sat as closing arguments began, listening to a lengthy presentation of the charges against him and longtime associate and lobbyist Mike McLean. The prosecution began with strong words, saying, quote, "Ladies and gentlemen, legislation should not be bought, but that's what was happening here," mentioning a, quote, "stream of bribes" they say were solicited by Madigan that, quote, lined his own pockets by awarding no-show jobs for work for his personal law firm. They added, quote, "Over the last 3 months, the jury saw behind the scenes of corruption at the highest level of government." Madigan is charged with 23 counts for 5 different schemes during his long tenure as Illinois House Speaker. During closing arguments, the prosecution revisited some of the many wiretapped recordings they heard, and this interview with Madigan, where they say he admits giving a job to a precinct captain as they served his Democratic Party.
I'm trying to take somebody who never thought that they'd be a Democratic precinct captain and make them into a salesman.
In Madigan's cross-examination earlier, he mentioned that those remarks he made, and as well as other remarks that he made that the jury heard, were recommendations he was making as Speaker and were not telling anybody to do anything specifically. Closing arguments are still ongoing, are expected to continue to the end of this week, possibly into Monday, before the jury can finally start deliberating. We're at the Dirksen Federal Building. Sabrina Franza, CBS News, Chicago.
Sabrina, thank you for the update.